Yes.
So tell us who you are.
My name is Taymoor. It's a pleasure to be here. So short history, I started my, I guess you could say I was born with some degree of a inclination towards art. My surname Atighetchi means art dealer in Persian. And all my father and his father were, and I have sadly broken that tradition. So but I did study art history. But I started my career actually on the Portobello Road market when I was 16, and I had a small stall selling Indian and Islamic art on that market. And that's where I first learned not just about the joy of art, but actually the commercial side of it too, which is a real joy as well. And we are in Christie's, and the two worlds can live happily together, and they do sometimes make beautiful things happen. From there, I went on to a short stint in the corporate world of management consultancy. I joined Bain & Company, which is a big strategy consulting house. But I got very quickly frustrated with the lack of any creativity or art. And then I set up Papier, which is a global consumer stationery brand, which now serves over 2 million customers. We have about 100 employees, the majority of whom sit here in London, but quite a few live out in the States as well, which is one of our biggest markets. So, in answer to the question, so why is it important? Why is access to arts important? I am a graduate of art history, so it did benefit me, but I will state very clearly that I am a privileged individual because I went to a private school that offered it. And it was actually only when Rose contacted me and to tell me about the charity that I was shocked to find how privileged I was actually, and how rare an opportunity it was that I got to study it and enjoy it. And it's such an important part of my life. But why is it important? I think the first thing that I wanted to say as a chief executive in a creative space is how important the visual world has become to all of us. There's been lots of data and stats thrown around, but the number of visual things that are thrown at us every day is at an all-time high. I think there's some researchers saying that we kind of get bombarded with about 10,000 visuals a day. And things like social media are just propagating that and growing that. And what I wanted to express is that I have found, and I find that art history is not purely an academic subject. It is very practical too. It teaches you and trains your eye like a muscle and develops an ability to read visual things in a way that I think is a gift that you have for life. And I think that anyone who studies art history, whether it's as a degree at university or later in life, picks that up in no dissimilar way to picking up a skill like cooking or cut or anything like that. So that's one reason that I think that I'm a big proponent of art history, because of its practical dimension, which is serving me well as a person in creativity. The second is because it is not merely about studying artifacts and objects and appreciating it and saying why it's beautiful or why it's important. It is a window into so much more. Through art, we study society, civilization, languages, traditions, and culture. And in doing that, we develop appreciation and empathy and respect. And I think those are very important values that are more important today than ever. And I think it is probably a reason why when we sit down, as Jussi is saying, with other people who have been in the arts or study the arts, we might find that we are enjoying a conversation with respect, because I think it does breed and cultivate that. So I think that, again, is another reason why it is important we offer this to all parts of society and not privileged few that happen to make it into a private school where it's offered. And then the last is, it's important to highlight, because it's, as a trustee of Art History LIMCUP, one of the things we talk about a lot is that we shouldn't forget that art history as a subject and a discipline is under threat. And it's always under threat, and it's periodically under acute threat. So there has been many occasions where it's gone through Parliament, it's been challenged. Should we even have this on syllabuses? Should this be a discipline? The very nasty terminology around Mickey Mouse subject gets thrown at this subject. In this current climate where we are talking about the importance of STEM, this has become a very dangerous narrative that governments are pushing, that the way to grow GDP in the world is to actually get people to not study things like art, but study things like technology and engineering. I think, and I think I hope all of us agree, it's a very dangerous narrative to go down. And if we look back at history and we look back at societies who prized art, who built libraries, who built museums, who celebrated the arts, think the Renaissance. These are the greater societies. And if we look back and look at societies that started to shut museums and close libraries and diminish them, we enter the Dark Ages. So I think it's an important reminder, and I think therefore it's absolutely essential that we not just put art history access for everyone, but maintain it as a very important part of academia as well.